We start our show with news out of the city of brotherly love. Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers have agreed to a 3-year, $192.9 million max extension that guarantees the former MVP just shy of $300 million through the 2028-29 season. That's what sources told our senior writer, Ramona Shelburne. And while she reported the details, Embiid announced the extension on Instagram this morning, saying, quote, "Philadelphia is home. I want to be here for the rest of my career. I love this community and everything you've given me and my family. There's a lot more work to do. You guys deserve a championship, and I think we are just getting started." So here's a look at the contract extension. This is all courtesy of our front office insider, Bobby Marks. But look,
what is that last number?
The last number.
Ooh.
Joel becomes just the 5th player to ever cross that elusive $500 million threshold.
That's $500 million.
Exactly. You've heard her voice. You've seen her reporting. Ramona Shelburne here in studio on this fine Friday. Zach Lowe, Kendrick Perkins are here with us as well. Festus Ezeli will be by in just a little bit. But Ramona, I want to start with you and what you reported this morning. Why now? Why did Joel Embiid decide this is the time to extend with the Sixers?
Well, you know, he's always wanted to be a Sixer for his entire life, but I think this was the first time in a couple of off seasons where he's looked around and seen calm. He looks around and sees Tyrese Maxey and Paul George and Eric Gordon and Caleb Martin and all these guys that they went out and signed in the offseason, and not cameras standing outside wondering whether Ben Simmons is going to show up or James Harden is going to show up. And if he shows up, will he have a cell phone in his pocket or will he actually be playing? And so I think this, you know, a couple summers ago we were here and he gave an interview for the first time where he said, you know, I want to be a Sixer for my whole career, but I also want to win. Well, he's got everything he needs to win, and so now he can go be a Sixer for the rest of his career, and he's certainly set up to do that with this contract that he just agreed to.
We mentioned a couple of those players, but for the Sixers, now that they have Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey all tied to this organization for the long term here, Zach, I mean, what are you looking at? What does this mean for the 76ers?
Joel Embiid, for almost his entire career, has had nothing but instability and craziness around him. From Jimmy Butler's little half season to the Ben Simmons disaster to the James Harden. This is kind of working. Oh, my God, no, it's not working anymore. Finally, now he can look around at the other star partners he has and said, this guy's ready, they're going to be here. And by the way, the MVP of that calm, the most important thing that's happened to Philadelphia in the last 2 years has been Tyrese Maxey being a home run draft pick from Lowe in the first round and blossoming into a star ahead of schedule, convincing Joel Embiid, yeah, I got a running mate here for the long term that wants all the smoke in crunch time of games. This team can absolutely win the championship. They still have a move to make at the trade deadline and the assets to make it, but another second-round exit if they're healthy. And for Joel Embiid, priority number one, not the MVP, not all NBA, not any of that stuff. Get to April healthy, and a second-round exit again would be a disappointment.
I 100% agree with Ramona and Zach, but since it's Friday, since it's Friday and I'm in a good mood, let me steal Zach Lowe segment for a minute, right? And when I first heard this news, the first thing I thought about is that Daryl Morey is a bad mother, holy bleep. That's what I thought. Did I do that pretty good, Zach?
That was pretty good.
I'm saying, did I do that pretty good,
Perk,
Zach?
I like it.
Listen,
Take it.
Think about Daryl Morey, right? Yes, he's searching for a championship. We understand as a guy that's leading the organization. But Daryl Morey as the general manager, he's one of the best that I've ever seen. When it comes down to making sure teams are built to compete on a year-to-year basis. I'm not even going to go back to the Houston days because he did an outstanding job there with James Harden. Golden State was just in the way. But when you look at this Philly situation, with all the Ben Simmons drama that happened, with the James Harden drama that happened, and having to walk into that locker room on a day-to-day basis and into that arena or practice facility, and look at Joel Embiid and have him trust you throughout this process that you were going to put the necessary pieces around him to make sure that at the end of the day he could go out there and compete for a title. Tyrese Maxey, late first-round pick, signed to an extension. Get Paul George in the offseason to replace Tobias Harris, who is a guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Daryl Morey has done his job to the T since he has stepped into this role with the Philadelphia 76ers, and I got to give a lot of credit to him. And shout out to Joel Embiid, because anytime a player signs for big money like this, I got to give him his props, because I get it that it's entertainment to us as in the media and in the fans, but it's still a job. And when you're able to secure a bag like this, it's a beautiful thing to see.
I mean, Joel Embiid is 30 years old, and when Philadelphia started this process, and Perk, you used the words, you sent me going there, okay? He trusted the process. He named himself the process, right? Joel, the process Embiid. He is the embodiment of the process. This is what the whole thing was set up to do, is to find stars at the top of the draft, to find stars and develop them, keep them. And he has a chance now to be one of those players who plays his entire career with one franchise. There's only a couple guys in this modern era who do that. Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo is in position to do that if he stays with the Bucks, so like he's set up to do. But Joel Embiid, Jokic, but there's not many who are able to do that, and I think this is the fulfillment of the process. Now, he's 30 years old. He has a history of injuries. Last season was very humbling for him. You saw him in the playoffs coming back where he really wasn't right. He was playing on a knee that probably needed some more time to rehab. And when you're 30 years old and somebody puts nearly $200 million extra in front of you that'll take you through your age 35 season, if he wants, you sign as soon as that contract is in front of your desk. As soon as they can hand you a pen, you sign that and lock it in. And I think he's also set himself up where he has a player option in that last year. So that would be age 34. If he wants one more big deal, he's in position to do that.
Yep.
But he also can go all the way through his age 35 season and make a career of $500 million, over $500 million. That's unbelievable.
With the extension, Embiid is one of 5 players who are set to make at least $500 million based on their current deals. The others in that $500 million club include 3 of Embiid's Olympic teammates, of course, LeBron, Steph, KD, as well as his new 76ers teammate, Paul George. So the pressure, it's on in Philadelphia. They have real expectations this season to bring a championship to Philly. And one guy who knows a thing or two about winning a title is our big man, Festus Ezeli. So, Fez, why are the Sixers betting on Joel Embiid here?
Well, for one, Malika, Joel Embiid is a bucket. And right now, the bigs are back in the NBA. Bigs are sexy again in the NBA, and we love it. So, Joel Embiid, I'm going to show you guys right here why Joel Embiid, he can score different ways, but I'll show you different ways that we don't even think about when you think about a big scoring. So, I'll let the play run right now. All right, pause it right here. The ball is up. Joel Embiid as a 7-footer going against another 7-footer, but you see how big and strong he is. He pushes and buries Nick Claxton in the middle of the paint right here. You're not getting a rebound from right here, all right? Joel Embiid's eyes are on the ball. I'm going to go get this ball. Let it play. This is why we have to get our sleep before we play against Joel Embiid. Because right now, it's going to be a battle every time. And if you don't double team him, oh my goodness, you got a big man with this beautiful footwork and this amazing touch. What are we talking about? Right here, bucket. Chef's kiss. I love that. This is where we get our bread and butter. You can pause it right here. Bread and butter right here is on the block. Joel Embiid is going to go get busy. Now, instead of Patrick Beverley, you have Paul George. You cannot leave Paul George open. Let it play. You throw the ball to Joel Embiid. If you don't double team him, Naz Reid is one of the better defenders in the NBA on the block. You have that beautiful move right there by the big fella. Crushing it. I love Joel Embiid on the block. I love watching him.
Yeah.
He, last year, did something that was unprecedented. More points than minutes. This has not been done since 1961-62. And every time you say the name Will Chamberlain, you know that record is incredible. So Joel Embiid, obviously buckets, but also most fouls in the NBA, always getting double teamed. There's a reason why you lock him up. If you have a guy like this, it gives you a chance, the best chance to win a championship, you lock that up for a few years, Malik.
I got to say, Fez, you're getting pretty good at these breakdowns, but you're our news center here on NBA Today. There's not just one. We got another big fella here, Kendrick Perkins.
Don't you, the bigs are sexy again.
The bigs they're bringing sexy back. So let's focus on the big men here. A little centers of attention, Perk, if you will. What center has your attention heading into next season?
All this offseason, we've been seeing big moves. We saw Mikal Bridges to New York, Paul George to Philly, Alex Caruso to Oklahoma City. But Isaiah Hartenstein to the Oklahoma City Thunder, a guy that did a tremendous job for the New York Knicks last year, helping them make their postseason run. What is this going to look like playing against alongside Chet Holmgren? We know he's a guy when it comes down to Isaiah Hartenstein with a high basketball IQ. He's tenacious when it comes down to rebounding. He could play a drop coverage in the pick and roll defensively. How's that going to look for Chet? I think Chet is going to strive great and benefit great playing alongside him. I got my all eyes on Isaiah Hartenstein and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's why I have them picked to be number one in the Western Conference.
Interesting. All right, that's the center you're looking at. How about you?
I'm gonna go with the big in Boston. Kristaps Porzingis is a big guy that can do on the offensive end and on the defensive end. The best defense in the NBA the Boston Celtics have when Kristaps is on the floor. But also, if the Boston Celtics want to repeat, I know a little something about that. It is difficult to go back-to-back in the NBA. So when you see Kristaps Porzingis on the floor, that's the best defense in the NBA. With him off the floor, it's tough. And I love the fact that the Boston Celtics are going to have to play without him the first half of the season. They want to repeat like they want to do. You have to be able to play without your center, and then when you have him for the second half of the season, it's going to be a luxury of riches for them to have a big guy like that.
A little injection of energy. What about you, Zach? Who's your center of attention?
Are they all done with the nerdy stuff and the guys on the great teams and the deep cuts? Like I was gonna say Derek Lively for the same reason. But yo, give me Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
What are you all thinking? I don't even have to explain why he's the most exciting center to watch in the NBA this coming year. I don't even care how many more wins the Spurs get. Spoiler alert, it's going to be a lot more than last year because this dude is ready right now to ascend toward or into the top 10 overall player list. And the big question is, how much better does he make the Spurs right away? Do they get to the end of this season or even the trade deadline and say, oh boy, we're a little further along than we thought we were when we traded the number 8 pick, Rob Dillingham, for like a 2030, a way out in the future pick from Minnesota. When do they hit the gas? That's going to depend on how many wins he gets of it. I think it's going to be a big leap.